Thank you. Thank you for this warm welcome. Collective, non-profit, private is really a cumbersome title I chose for this talk. But before I start, I wanted to ask, is anyone familiar with the Department of Decentralization or with events like ETHBerlin that we are organizing? The next event we are organizing is in actually 2 days, so I did the slides like 30 minutes ago, so if you lack any context, feel free to interrupt me. But that's probably all context you need. Organizing large-scale public events the hard way. I'm Afri. I'm with the Department of Decentralization for many years now. If you also want to look like a clown, you can go on the ETHBerlin website and upload your PFP. We have a beautiful PFP generator there. You can also upload your doc or your favorite meme. It's actually a lot of fun playing around. So in case you want to get distracted, go ahead. I'm going to talk about how we are operating the Department of Decentralization as a collective. And in the next 20 minutes, I want to really take the time to frame a little bit how we work, what we do, and why we do it. And I think it's really important because if you organize events for many years in the space and if you do this regularly and you always have a kind of competition with other cities, with other events. But at some point, people come to your events with certain expectations and they don't necessarily see from the outside that what we do is actually pretty different from what others do. And today, I want to just take the next 15 to 20 minutes to talk about what we do and how this is different. As I said, the Department of Decentralization, we are a loose collective. We have no real structured way of organizing. We have an open get-together here actually at Seabase once a month, so everyone can come and kind of contribute. Right now, we are around 23 people, more or less from Berlin. We also have a legal entity in Germany that is tax exempt by German law, which is really helpful, especially if you operate as a non-profit. And as I said, we mainly organize events, but we also have strong sections that are involved with blockchain art or maintaining decentralized infrastructure. Just to make sure we are all on the same page, all the events that we organize are free as and free lemonade. We don't sell any tickets. We everything you get from our events is basically free. It's free to attend, it's free to use, and free to collaborate. And on top of that, we also do not try to invite you to buy something. Also, we are not selling anything, we are not shilling anything or trying to. We also try to drastically reduce the amount of something I really don't like about many events in the Web3 space is all the plastic trash you get from sponsors. And this is, like a lot of things going to waste what you as an attendee usually don't want to. And there's a lot of things that we are trying to do a bit differently during our events. But I'm just going to frame this here so you know that what I'm talking about next makes sense. This is actually a photo of our last ETHBerlin 2 years ago with Chelsea Manning on a fireside chat at ETHBerlin 3. So our events are free, and we are not trying to sell you anything. There must be like a caveat. So maybe we are selling your data. Actually, we don't. We really couldn't care less about attendee data. There's really, if you organize an event, there's really no need for data, unless you run a business and you want to justify in front of investors that you have a growing user base, or you need to scale to sheer limitless numbers, or if you, I don't know, just, sell the data on a darknet, if there's a Web3 scam email list or something like that. We don't do that, obviously, and why I'm saying this is because this is apparently not the normal, not even in the Web3 space. And we do this so radically to a degree that I can't even tell you who was an attendee 2 years ago to one of our events. We just don't have this data point. And we don't even have a newsletter or anything. You know, every year we basically start from scratch, building a new user base. That said, there's always data. You know, whatever you do, there's always data. You always leave a trace. This is our privacy policy. It's hard to read, but I marked some sections in different colors. Red is basically what we collect and what we use. And green is basically your right, according to German or European laws. And just to quote from our privacy policy, your email address, that's all we need. There's really no need, if you organize an event, to collect anything, like literally anything about attendees' data. There's no need, name a reason, why would you need a full name or even a real name, or why would you need a location, or you name it, you know, like all we need, I mean, email address is, you need something to communicate, give information for the attendance, you know. And that's part of our privacy policy, and I think we are kind of proud that we got all this data we have about our attendees reduced down to like this one line of the email address that we need. So that said, I want to make a case for ETHBerlin as an event that's fairly different from other events. And there is, before we even start organizing an event, then we think about what is our actual goal here. And we try to, I mean, most of us come from the open source community, from the decentralization community, and we come here with a very strong vision, and we have often strong opinions about how the space should be shaped, what the values are, and so on. And especially organizing hackathons is a good entry point for many people that come, young people coming from university or people coming from other ecosystems to get started in Web3. And we always try to align our attendees with a strong vision. Not, you know, it's not only about creating the next token toilet or making magic internet money, but there's so much more to this technology. And what we do, or what we have done in the past, is writing a new manifesto for every event we organize. And it's absolutely worth a read. I thought about quoting some parts of it, but it's just too long. So maybe if you have time or want to get distracted, read our manifesto on ETHBerlin.org. But one thing I want to highlight is defining a vision and mission is important for these events, but also what we did over the past years is to define values. What should you work on, or what should you consider if you hack on a project at ETHBerlin? So to further map out this vision that we have for this event, we also try to define key attributes that give you like a that give you like some orientation to navigate like a hackathon, especially if you have not done this before. We define these attributes. Let me just read them out. We encourage hackers to focus on the following attributes. Private, there's no need for your name, data, or ID. Usable, it has to be accessible and user-friendly. Direct, it does not ask for permission. Subversive, it transformed established orders and structures of power. Social, it empowers people and makes a difference in somebody's life. Clandestine, it will not comply. Independent, it will not rely on governments, corporates, or investors. Impactful, it intends to make a difference. Secure, it does not put anyone at risk. Libre, it will be free, both as in free speech and free lemonade. And I'm reading them out because I really believe these values are really important, especially for if you organize an hackathon, and it really helps to not only ground the community to a certain soil, but also to help them to navigate such an event. And I think it's very important going forward for the entire community and the ecosystem to have more events like this with more strong or strictly defined vision and values. But there's more to that, and that's also something I'm really happy to talk about today is you have a vision, you maybe define some values, but do you stop there? So what we do is we also try to really bring everyone who's attending our events to get fed or get dog-fed the technology we are using. You know, we don't run a Discord to manage our community because we really want a fully federated, encrypted, and open source communication stack. Right? We couldn't do this with Telegram or Discord. We just don't want this, and we don't use this till today. If you coordinate as a collective, you need to sometimes meet virtually. So we use encrypted peer-to-peer video conferences with Jitsi. I mean, it's not fully peer-to-peer, but at least it's fully encrypted and open source. And we use many other open source tools. And my entire point being just to tell you this is absolutely possible to do this, and it's also absolutely worthwhile to try this. And the most important cornerstone, as I said, Matrix. We host our own Matrix server, so we have full control over our entire communications infrastructure. We have all our users, all our chat rooms and Matrix spaces all on our own server. And this, in addition, is federated with the entire Matrix network. This is really, really important point. You know, if you use a Discord server, you don't have this control, and you even have to sell your users basically to a third-party company or like make them sign up for these services. This is something we absolutely don't want. Internally, we coordinate through the Ethereum Foundation Jitsi servers. I'm really glad they host one. But there are others. I mean, once you open this can of open source worms, there are like many different options. For us, it's Jitsi currently. So thank you, Ethereum Foundation, for letting us use this. And something that is really a cornerstone of our collaboration is document management with ScriptPad. You can self-host it. It's fully encrypted, open source, and seamlessly integrates with OnlyOffice, which is like an in-browser document suite. And this has been very helpful. And we have been organizing events on this for at least 2 years now. And the list goes on. I mean, how much time do I have? We use FreeScout for emails, help desk, pre-talks, pre-ticks for tickets, speakers, coordination, schedule. We have a ghost blog. Feel free to read it. It's on blog.dod.ng also. NGO also self-hosted. And sometimes we even build our own custom open source software. But more on that later. So we define a vision for our attendees. We dog feed the entire open source tech stack. What else can we do? This year we decided to go one step further and try to boost open source development by incentivizing hackers at our events to actually make meaningful contributions to open source software, to existing open source software. And we call this the Meta Award. If you decide to hack for 48 hours on something that improves our technology stack, or like one of these software projects that I just listed, or even others, or add features to our stack, or even create something new, we just created this new category to encourage people to build open source or contribute to open source. And I think this is a very important cornerstone, again, because this is something that is not necessarily normal, and it still adds a lot of value to our ecosystem, in my opinion. So, what are we called again? The Department of Self-Hosting, yeah. There are boundaries to what you can do pragmatically if you run your own collective, if you do an actual event with hundreds or thousands of attendees. At the end of the day, it needs to work. And we started in 2018 with the first ETHBerlin, and we we tried to get, we maintained like peer-to-peer communications on status, like a really interesting peer-to-peer communications protocol. We had live streaming on live peer, and not necessarily saying this is a bad thing, but it comes with a lot of struggles. And at some point, if you really want to deliver a good event, you need to sometimes compromise. And for us, or for me personally, it turned out the sweet spot is self-hosting open source software. So if the software is fully open source, fully encrypted, and even if it can federate, even better. So most of the technology we use is rather self-hosted than fully decentralized. As I said, it comes with challenges. If I didn't mention this before, I do this now. We spend all our free time on this, and sometimes even our own money. It's not our job to do this. Most of us have a full-time job, and yeah, I wrote on a side because sometimes, especially close to the bigger events we organize, it feels like your main job is what you do on the side, right? But why this is challenging for many also contributors inside our collective is that you often, if you have like a job, even if you work in Web3, you are like often forced to sign up for a Google business account. You need to, I don't know, create databases in Notion or anything like this. And this is, it comes with the sweet convenience of it works, you know, even though I personally don't like these services, but often if you work in a professional context, it just does the job basically and you get used to it. And then you get out of work and in the evening you try to organize an event and then someone in the collective suggests to use, I don't know, Matrix or CryptPad, you know, and then it is a bit challenging sometimes, especially as open source software sometimes has drawbacks when it comes to user experience. Maybe sometimes it's buggy. Doesn't have to be. I'm actually quite happy about our current stack right now, but it always comes with some mainly usability drawbacks. Sometimes a feature is missing, and then you have to figure it out. And this is not something you like to do, especially if you have like a full-time job on the side. So. And the other contrast on the external side is that this is also not normal for events in Web3, and this is something I'm actually surprised about, because what does Web3 or the decentralized community stand for? And I'm surprised how many conferences, hackathons, and other events in this space are actually for profit. Do they have to be? I don't know. And in the worst case is that some even like collect your data to pass it on, to sell it. And this puts us in a position where we often have to justify what we do and how we do it. And we have to explain that over and over again. So what's the point? We are different, but we don't want to be. Actually, I think what we do should be the standard, especially for community events, and especially in a community with such a strong vision as Web3. And my message today is consider, just like ETHBerlin did in the Czech Republic, or like Web3Privacy Now movement. You know, start your own local collective. Host your federated community, organize your free events, because it's absolutely possible, and that's something we are trying to show with events that we are organizing, like ETHBerlin. It's not only fun to organize this, but it's also possible to be different. You know, self-host, don't rely on anyone's server, encrypt, don't put anyone at risk. Federate, connect with other communities. And with that, I would like to thank all these beautiful people of the Department of Decentralization, also you for coming and listening to this talk. And if you haven't done so, please check out one of our websites or events. Come to our events. And with that, I open, I don't know, do we have questions? Do I have questions? No? Yes? Maybe. Thank you.
Test. Anyone? Questions? Here we go.
I've got a question. Sorry, I've actually also lost my voice very conveniently. I've got a question about how you do funding when you don't do any, like marketing activities that other interested parties would usually be interested in when they sponsor an event like this.
Thank you. It's a good question. There's actually a hidden slide. So running a non-profit, if it's in Web3 or not, it's not something we invented. So this is like a very old thing. If it's I don't know, campaigning for politics or whatever you do, there are like so many different ways to raise funds, and there's so many different ways. It could be donations, retroactive funding, grants from foundations, and because you probably asked how we specifically are funded, we do all of this, except we don't have any members because we don't want to store their data. But we used to run events in the past through sponsorship models. Currently, we are mainly funded through donations, retroactive funding, and grants from foundations, which puts us in a little bit more privileged spot because we don't have to go with everything that comes with sponsorships, but that's basically what you can do.
The last one?
My question was answered, thank you.
Oh,
No,
perfect. Okay, then one more. Yeah, anyways, we're waiting for Fatma.
How did you invent the name and when? DOD.
I mean, it is. It should sound official, you know. It's like. I mean, I didn't invent it. It's someone from our collective. I don't even recall. I don't know if anyone in the room knows who came up with this, but it should be official. The fun fact about the story is we tried to register this as like a legal entity, and they refused because it sounded too official. So yeah.
Hey, so my question is on the lines of authentication. Like, for example, you used email is the only thing you need. What have you tried, or what are the assessments on protocols like Nostr or so, which I haven't actually gotten into testing, but like decentralized blockchain?
What's the question, actually? I mean, we use whatever works, right? We currently have a collaboration with Zupas to create PCDs for all our attendees. The next step could be using Zupas to check in and authenticate, so you basically don't even need their email address anymore. I mean, someone would need to go over this step to create this account on Zupas, but it's having a zero-knowledge proof to prove that you are actually an attendee or even a judge or any other role. I'm sorry by the noise. That's absolutely possible, and we're very close to implementing this too.
You can brief out, maybe 2 minutes. Let's do one more.
Oh, come on.
The last one.
With everything being so decentralized, how do you do governance? Like, when is something the Department of Decentralization says official, and how do you decide when you raise funds, how you spend them? Like, what's the, how do you do this kind of decision making?
Decision making is rough consensus. So everyone should kind of agree, and no one should have like a strong objection.
No microphone, no question.
I mean, this is actually a very open-ended question because this is not something that's easily be solved, and we don't vote on things, you know, internally, and we also try not to have one person responsible for everything, and trying to find a middle ground somewhere that is not voting or dictatorship. It's something that's also very common in protocol governance or open source governance, is just having rough consensus, and this is also something we try to implement.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, thank
Small
you.
round of applause.